Three, two, one, crack. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that sound means it's time for another episode of A Beer and Review.
So pour it high and let it gleam. This is the podcast, Sip and Dream. Stay for the fun, we've got more to do. Oh yeah, it's A Beer and Review.
That is right. Welcome one, welcome all to episode 121 of A Beer and Review. I am your host this week, Layne Good, and as always, I am joined by my dearest co-host and dearest friend, Lucas Walker.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers to you, my friend. And before we get too far into this, we're going to start off with our ceremonial swig. So to you, I'll say cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
That is Jester's Privilege, ladies and gentlemen. That is the beer of the week. And this week we are watching and reviewing Is This Thing On? Before we do that, we got some stuff to get to. This is the start of year 5. We are officially joining for our big year 5. We are joining the Can1Live YouTube channel. So you see I've got my glass right here to celebrate. So
I need one of those.
You do need one of those. You can find it on Can1Live merch.com. I probably got that wrong. Yeah, it's on the internet. So welcome all. If you don't know, if it's your first time listening, what we do is we have watched a movie. This week that movie is This Thing On, and we have cracked open our ice cold Jester's Privilege IPA out of Brewbuilt Brewing. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang out, a couple of boys drinking this beer and chatting. Is this thing on? Now, and there's a fun tagline I created last week: a beer and review where the beer is spoiled and the movies are fresh. Nope, the movies are spoiled and the beers are fresh. There we go.
I thought you did it backwards on purpose. Just be clever.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't be clever because I failed.
Just to be a bit of a jester.
There we go.
A bit of Lucas a rascal.
Walker, how are you, my friend?
Dude, I'm fantastic, man. Had a very nice weekend, a solid, productive Monday. Got a fresh shave.
Love that feeling
today. So I'm all lotioned up and smooth, and I finally picked out all the scragglies because you find those throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to like avoid. And then once you find them, it's like it just warps. I mean, it wraps itself around your mind. You can't think of I've got to go home from work and finish shaving my head. But no,
everyone's gonna be able to see these, but no, it's just you.
No one would ever have a clue. But I know, and it eats away at you. But I'm clean. I'm good. Everyone in the house is asleep. Life is good, buddy. I'm happy to be here. This is, we kind of took a little bit of a hiatus. We had a 2 weeks in between Oscars, and then we had, our episode where we just did Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And so I'm kind of getting geared back up into watching movies. Oscar season took it out of me this year. I said it last episode, but it was a lot. So I'm excited to be here, bud.
I love to hear it. I'm also doing well. I am for those of you who've been listening for a while, I'm a big basketball fan. I still be playing, and we just started up one of our city leagues tonight. So we got the W,
Nice.
Played pretty well. Did have a turnover late in game that could have, maybe and should have cost us, but want to know, and there's nothing like it.
There you go.
Lucas, you said you're kind of back in the zone watching movies. Have you been watching anything good recently? What you been watching?
Well, as far as movies, this is the only movie I've watched, but I have been getting down on Landman. I'm almost done with the first season of Landman. I'm through 9 episodes of 10. I gotta say, what a wonderful show!
Really,
I'm pretty late to the party.
Yeah. You seem a little turned on it because before you were a little soft, but it sounds like you're good to go.
It's a lot of shows kind of are this way. You start slow, right? It's a slow build, slow burn. You're learning characters. You're being introduced to the characters. You're getting into the style of the show, and as you get to know the characters better and you get to understand kind of what's going on. If it's a good show, it just picks up, right? And it gets better and better. And so this show is definitely like that. It almost was a little bit kind of cheesy early on, and it felt like some of the acting was kind of maybe not that good. But as you get into it more, you realize kind of what they're doing and who these people are, and who the characters are that these actors are trying to be. And I didn't expect it to be as funny as it is. It's like genuinely laugh out loud funny at times, kind of an unintentional comedy most of the time. But it's like Billy Bob Thornton is just amazing. I don't know, the characters are. It's just become a very addictive show. So it's interesting because it's kind of in that like prestige TV realm, right? That we had come to really know and love in the late aughts and the teens, right? The Breaking Bads and the Wires and the Sopranos and Game of Thrones and all that, like that we would consider the prestige TV. And that era kind of died a little bit. And I think this is one of the newer shows that is kind of considered to be in that prestige realm, and it's different than those, but it's awesome. I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah, that's really all I've been watching. Just been getting real down on some Landman. What about you?
Will you go down into like the Yellowstone rabbit hole or the other Sheridan projects? Or
I had done quite a bit of Yellowstone, I think maybe 3 seasons, and then my wife stopped watching it, so I stopped watching it too. I never did any of the spin-offs. I have no interest in the spin-offs. There's a ton of spin-offs now, and it's like, dude, it seems like Taylor Sheridan just makes every show that's a show now. Like he does them all. So but I don't know that I'm gonna do that. I might go back and do some like Succession, Pluribus. I know you were getting down on that. I don't know. We've got some different ideas, but I don't know that I need to do the like Taylor Sheridan filmography, if you will.
yeah, fair. I have not been watching anything. Lots of college basketball. It's been wild. Getting moved into the new house. You see, it's dirtier than it was last week. So I'm not doing the best job. This has kind of become the junk room. So lots of moving, lots of hectic weekends. I told you I did sign up for golf lessons. So this will be a fun little time capsule. Hopefully, when I'm actually really good at golf, I can go back and listen to this.
Right.
Like, hey, remember when you sucked really bad at golf? That's now.
Yeah.
So future me, good job on being really good at golf.
Right.
All right. You ready to discuss Is This Thing On? And a little bit of Jester's Privilege.
Yeah, let's do it. You'll notice I did not pour my Jester's Privilege into a glass. Because I only got one.
Okay.
Yeah, you forced us to drink an IPA, and I can't sacrifice half my day for this podcast. Half my day tomorrow. I just can't do it. But I figured my body can handle 1 pint of
one
IPA.
pint. I
if
think
my
that's
body
a good
can't
fair
handle
rule.
a single pint of IPA, then fuck, it's just all downhill from here. I just may be washed. It may be over for me. So I think we can get through one. But I'm excited. I'm excited for both this show, this movie, this beer. You're our host, man. Take it away.
Jester's Privilege. I'm sure you can guess why this beer was selected, why I made you go IPA. Obviously, we have our main character, Alex, who we'll get into shortly. Okay, stats. Let me hit you with them. This movie is This Thing On, directed by Bradley Cooper. This is his third film. He did A Star Is Born. He did Maestro and Is This Thing On. This is the first movie of his 3 to not receive any Oscar nominations, which I thought was interesting. This stars Will Arnett, Laura Dern, released in 2025, rated R, 2 hours and 1 minute. This movie did win an award. It won, Laura Dern won Best Actress from Movies for Grown-Ups Awards. So, something.
All right.
Let's talk story. I wrote this up. Sorry if it's a little long in the tooth, but I'm a man of many words. This movie follows Alex and his now ex-wife, Tess. Shortly after the divorce, Alex finds himself out on the town. Unwilling to pay a $15 cover to enter a local watering hole, Alex learns that open mic participants get free entry. Alex quickly finds himself on stage performing stand-up comedy about his recent divorce. After somehow not absolutely bombing, Alex finds joy in the stand-up scene. Alex begins practicing and writing jokes and finding more and more open mics. Alex gets his big break being a feature for a show which just so happens to have his ex-wife, Tess, in the audience, which Alex does not know about, and she happens to be on a date with Laird, played by, everyone say it with me, Peyton Manning. Unbelievable. While on stage, Alex discusses his recent bang session with another comic on the scene. After a slight bickering outside between Alex and Tess, they bang. The two then play this "What Are We" style game for a little bit. It's got some ups, it's got some downs, and then the film ends with Alex and Tess going to their child's performance of them playing Queen and David Bowie's "Under Pressure," and they are embraced and loving and give a little smooch. Signs are showing positivity to this relationship as the movie ends. There's a lot that I missed, but is there anything you want to specifically mention about the plot?
No, you didn't actually miss all that much. It's a fairly simple story. Obviously there's some added drama with like their friend group, with the juggling of their kids and their family, trying to understand what's going on in their relationship, and there's new dynamic and the kind of secrets that they're holding and all this, their secrets that they're keeping about their relationship and all that stuff. But you nailed it.
Beautiful. Question one. This is a movie about a stand-up comic. Was any of the comedy any good?
I think it was pretty good. Like,
really?
I thought for a open mic amateur comedian, some of it was halfway decent, and there were some good premises. I think that none of it, I don't know that any of the jokes actually like made me laugh out loud, and it actually kind of seemed like some of the other comedians, like that would go up after him and you could hear a joke or two as he's like walking off stage or whatever. I don't think many of those were very good, but I did think that he had decent. It was decent.
Okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
Not the answer I was expecting. I thought it was terrible. This movie is, I think, best described as a dramedy, drama comedy. Do you think it leaned either way, drama or comedy?
I think more drama.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a lot of funny stuff going on other than the comedy. It was really actually quite sad. And
no one's slipping on banana peels or shit.
No. Probably the funniest part that was not related to actual stand-up comedy was Bradley Cooper's character, who was kind of this, I don't even know how you would describe him. He's just very aloof and kind of doofy. And he's like this sort of struggling actor or whatever.
Whose name is Balls.
Yeah. And he's just very unaware of, anything going on in life, social cues, any of that. So he was just funny, at times, but he was funny-ish. But I'm surprised you didn't enjoy the comedy that much. I think for somebody who is brand new to comedy, which is not like easy, right? Like, yeah, of course you and I could go up and fucking crush it, but like most people couldn't. And for him to just kind of, do it, in a couple months, kind of get like some bits together, and he was drawing from like everyday life, new stuff. He was coming up with new premises, new concepts, new, whatever. I didn't think it was that bad.
I love to hear it. Well, let's get into the beginning, because that is what I love the most with the little segment we call Layne Loves First Scenes. Lucas, I'm kind of curious what you think about this, because this opening, stay with me here, made me think of One Battle After Another, in that they're not breaking into a detention center and breaking out immigrants. It just kind of started and never stopped. That movie, both of these movies kind of just go. We get a Will Arnett sitting at this, dragon show. I mean, it's like some dudes dancing with a dragon. You'd see it like a Chinese New Year or something like that. And he's just like super depressed and just out of it. And it gives you a little bit of information. This guy's going through some shit. I did like that everything was kind of muted. All the sound was muted around him. It kind of just showed you that he wasn't really bringing any of this stuff in. And then it kind of cuts to Laura Dern flossing her teeth or something. And she's like, "We got to call it, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess so." And it's like, a weird way to get a divorce, and it kind of just starts off strange. What did you think about? Did you know where there was like a good opening? What did you think about the start, the dancing dragon? Hit me with it.
Yeah, I mean it definitely gives you a good sense of where this guy is mentally, right? And it does kind of just drag on for a little while. It doesn't really give us a ton of information other than we should just call it, which leaves a little bit up to your interpretation of like, are they talking about their fucking marriage? Like, is that what they're calling? And it actually kind of reminded me a little bit of like Nobody, the intro to Nobody, where you have this guy who is just basically beaten down by his life and his marriage and his everything going on around him, and he's clearly at like a breaking point, right? And so that's kind of the, I guess, the theme or whatever of this intro is like, this whatever it is at its end, and this man is broken, and now there's going to be some change.
Yeah, and one man goes and kicks ass in the case of Nobody, and one man does shitty stand-up comedy in the case of Is This Thing On?
Yeah.
Okay, well, now let's get to our character draft. So we know the players on the board. We've kind of tiptoed around a little bit, but now's our chance to deep dive. So in our character draft, what we're going to do is Lucas is going to pull up a random number generator from 1 to 25. We're going to guess numbers, and then we're going to pick our favorite characters. They're not necessarily the best characters, but sometimes they're just people who speak to us. Lucas, I'm going to let you pick the first number this week.
I'm going to go with 12.
I'm going to go with number 21.
The number is 17. So you are just going to edge me out there. And you will go first and fourth. I will go second and third.
I'm going to go with an interesting one.
Okay.
I am going to go with Alex's dad.
Okay.
The gentleman, his name was Jan, I believe. He is familiar to us because we're big fans of this TV show. Did you recognize Sir Jan?
I did not.
He played Mance Raider from Game of Thrones. And he had this kind of thick accent. It's a typical father-son dynamic where not much is said, but when push comes to shove, the old man's going to be there for you. He's going to give you a big hug. He's going to give you some great advice. It was just an excellent fatherly figure in the movie who wasn't in it very much, but he was there when he needed to be, and the big man stepped up. Unlike the mother, who was like friends with the ex-wife, and it's just like, that's a little weird. But my man Jan, loved him. Number one pick.
All right. Well, I'm just going to go right down Main Street here. I will go with Balls, the Bradley Cooper character. I just enjoyed his presence in the movie. He was, like I mentioned, probably the funniest, thing going on outside of the stand-up comedy stage. He's just a very aloof kind of, like innocently dumb kind of guy. And like he decides that after he sees Will Arnett, Alex being like kind of happy in his post marriage life, which is spurred more on by the fact that he's found meaning in stand-up comedy and like a community rather than happiness in being divorced, because he's actually not happy about being divorced and alone and away from his kids. But this guy's just like, oh, look it, he's divorced, he's happy, I'm gonna ask for a divorce. Like, just a very dumb guy, very excited about these like stupid roles that he's maybe are gonna get or not get in whatever random TV shows. I just quite enjoyed him. I also like that Bradley Cooper was kind of like wearing a just goofy costume. It was almost like he was wearing like those glasses with a false mustache and big nose. That's kind of what he reminded me of, just the way he looked in this movie. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe his character is his opening. He's introduced in the movie as he's tripping and spilling milk all over the floor. It's like, okay, here comes the comedic relief.
Yep, and then him and his wife are like baking weed cookies, and just fun stuff. And then I'll just take Alex for my second one. Probably the character with the most emotional depth, right? He's the one who's going on the big. We see the big character arc from him. We see him going through he has the journey, right? And I do think that he was admirable in a lot of ways, right? He handled the divorce, I think, in a pretty good way. He did it in a way that like he tried not to disrupt his kids' life too much or involve them or kind of get them in the middle of the whole thing. He deals with the divorce in a fairly healthy way. I think getting a new hobby is a very like healthy form of kind of dealing with a tragic event in your life. And then he's just out there slaying it, dude. He's banging comedians, and he's banging his ex-wife, and he's doing stand-up, and he's opening for Dave Attell, like you know killing it. So great character.
All good things from our main man, Alex. I think the obvious pick would be to go with Laura Dern's Tess, but I'm not going the obvious pick.
I would not
I am going with Peyton Manning's Laird. What a goddamn joy it was to see this man attempt to act in a real movie. We always give Peyton Manning credit because he's so likable. He was great when he did SNL. We see him in a ton of commercials. We think this guy's a good actor. And then you see him in a real movie with a real actress and Laura Dern, and it's just so obvious that he is out of his element. And I hope that he continues to get opportunities so he can get better, because I love seeing the man. I saw his forehead from across the room. I said, you're not going to do this to me, movie. You're not going to put Peyton Manning in this. And they fucking did it. He is not my favorite quarterback, because that belongs to Steve McNair. I think I got my action figure somewhere over there. But my God, Peyton Manning in a movie in a serious role, give me more. And his name was Laird, Laird. It was pretty funny. There's that moment they're on like a date or a dinner date where he doesn't really know it's a date, but she does, and he's like kind of inquisitive about the relationship between Tess and Alex. And then when he gets the answer he wants, he's like, oh, it's time to turn on the Mackin. Yeah. And it was just a great little cameo performance. Even though, again, he might not be the best actor, it was just great to see.
The thing with Peyton Manning acting is that he is one of just not very many people, I think, that is just so goddamn famous that it's almost impossible for him to ever be anything other than just Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Yep.
Right. I mean, he's so recognizable. His achievements in the sporting world, his achievements in his post career, right? He does the Monday Night Football like alternate broadcast. He's in a million commercials, like you said, SNL, and in all these things, he's playing Peyton Manning, and so I don't know how much acting he'll do going forward, or whether he'll do just like little kind of cameo spots like this, but it's almost impossible for him to break away from just being Peyton Manning and like to become a believable character who's not Peyton Manning. Because in this movie, he could have played Peyton Manning. He could have just been Peyton Manning, and it would have been the exact same thing. They could have been like, oh, Laura Dern's out on or whatever her name is on a date with Peyton Manning. And that would have been maybe better in the story, right? It's like he could be like, you're on a date with fucking Peyton Manning? And it's like, you banged a comedian? And, like that would have been maybe a better movie.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that he'll ever be anything other than Peyton Manning, which probably hurts him in his long-term prospects for like if he wants to seriously get into acting, but that's probably not really what he wants anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, it reminded me a lot of Brett Favre in There's Something About Mary. Just what a great surprise it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
he's taken a little bit different route in life since then. Brett Favre's approval rating is not quite what Peyton Manning's approval rating is.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so that's our characters. That's all the fun stuff. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes. Let's get into why people listen to this episode. Tess.
Yeah.
Did she need to be a famous Olympic volleyball player?
Famous
in quotes. A successful medal winning, you would assume, Olympic volleyball player.
Yeah, I don't know what that added to the story other than it gave us this little mini storyline having to do with that picture that he had blown up and framed
Which
and
is
hung in his
weird.
apartment. Yeah, it is weird to do that of your ex-wife in your apartment after you're
That big,
divorced.
life size, damn near life
Right.
size.
Like, it would have been a kind of cool thing to have just in their house while they were together, and, like, that could be something that's in the, like, recreational room of the house, right? If you have a pool table, maybe have it in that room, kind of a thing. Um, but then it gave us, yeah, like the little mini storyline, which I hated. It's probably my least favorite part of the movie was when she gets all mad at him for having
For
done
having the
that.
pick, yeah.
And she's like, "That's not me." And he's like, "Well, it kind of literally is you." Um, and she's like, "But that's not me right now." And it's like, okay, well, you're not really understanding. Like, he did it because he thinks it's cool. It's a cool thing you did. It's a cool achievement. It's a cool picture. Like, it symbolizes something awesome that you did in your life and that he admires you for. And you're all mad about it. I hated that fight and that, like, part of the story, and because that was a kind of a big turning point fight. Like, things were going so great for them, and then that kind of, like, really was a momentum killer for their, like, little secret relationship thing. So I guess that's the only reason, or like the only purpose, that the famous volleyball thing served. Because then, the other part was that, okay, she's getting this job as, like, coaching the Olympic, doing some Olympic coaching. It's like, or volleyball coaching. Like, anybody can coach volleyball. Not
At the
not
Olympics.
anybody, not anybody, but, like, you don't have to be a former Olympian to coach volleyball. Like, people can coach volleyball without doing
There
that.
you go.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was all just kind of weird. I think there were a lot of things in this movie that were weird and maybe off. And I want to say that they could have used some more time, but this was a 2-hour movie. When you were watching this, how were you feeling? Were you in? Were you invested? Was there ever a point that lost you? What was your movie watching journey? Did you have to break it up because you have a million children, or what was it like throughout the watching process?
Well, I actually did get it done in one night just because
My man.
I wanted to make sure that I could get back to Landman the next night. I didn't want to have to put off. I didn't want to go through 3 days without watching Landman or whatever. And so I did watch it in one sitting. It maybe dragged a little bit, but 2 hours is not terrible. I don't think 2 hours movies that have things going on, like this, mostly had some stuff going on. And it was fairly engaging. I would say that maybe dragged a few minutes, but for the most part, I was pretty engaged. I don't know. I did find myself being frustrated a lot. It was a movie where, like, you want the characters to be doing something else and saying something else and acting in a different way. I'm like, you guys are being very dumb about this.
Yeah.
And even when
Yep.
he's on stage and he's, like, telling his jokes, I'm like, dude, you gotta, like pick it up, man. You only got 5 minutes or, like, 3 minutes. Like, say something funnier. Like, turn this joke. Like, you can make this joke better. Like, I just felt myself being kind of frustrated a lot in the movie.
Same. But I think that you kind of hit some of the comedy scenes, and I think we should touch on that. You did mention that there were some jokes that you liked, but what I really, really liked was the first time that he does stand-up comedy, right? He, again, I said that he was kind of unwilling or unable to pay this bar tab. He kind of just signs up, not really knowing what he's doing. And then the entire time that he's up there, the camera is like right up in the dude's face. And it was really close. And it was good because the scene and why he's doing it is not about comedy or being a famous comedian or written material or anything. It's really that this is his therapy session. He's going up there to vent, to kind of unload his soul and maybe throw some of his own personality in there to get a few laughs. But the fact that the camera was all up in his business, I really liked, because it just showed you how much this meant to him and how open he was being with himself and with these strangers for the first time. And we could see the kind of love light up in his face once he kind of got through it. I really like that opening stand-up scene, and I thought the rest of them were way more chaotic and not as intimate, probably by design.
Yeah, and that first one though, I was just again like you oh, come on, man, like get it out. Like speak, dude. The one thing you can guarantee is gonna like help you to bomb is by having big pauses and not saying anything. And like, I mean, if you're gonna bomb, like you might as well bomb trying some stuff, right? And if it's not, if people don't laugh and they don't laugh, like you're just kind of just barely mumbling through this whole thing. And it's like, yeah, you didn't have anything prepared. He decided he was going to go up, whatever, 5-10 minutes before he actually did. Which also I thought it's like he goes in and I think it was in this very first time he goes up where the lady like pours him a shot and then he just leaves it on the
criminal. I didn't
on the
notice that.
bar.
How could you pick him in the character draft?
Well, I mean, it was kind of dumb. Yeah, you're right. But it's like, dude, if you're going to go do stand up, you should take that shot. That's going to help.
Definitely take that.
That's going to help you. It's going to loosen you up a little bit. It's going to, calm the nerves. Like, why would you leave the shot on the bar right before you go do stand up comedy? That's insane.
Why do you think we drink on this podcast?
Exactly. 100%. Dude, a lot of times I'll take a shot before we get on just to,
loosen the lips. So we do have, we had that comedy scene, the very first one. We have the one where Tess is in the audience. I was expecting a blow up or a scene, and we didn't get that. What were your thoughts as they were kind of like, hey, Tess and Peyton Manning, hey, let's go do one more thing after dinner. Did you know they're for sure going to the comedy show? Did you envision it going this way? What were your thoughts as that whole scene was going down?
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't envision it. I didn't see that one coming, but it was I thought a pretty actually smart little, way to do the scene. I liked it. I liked that he didn't know that she was there
the whole time.
Didn't see her like while he was on stage.
I kept expecting her to.
That's what I was expecting, was him catching eye contact while he was on stage and then like freezing up and storming off stage kind of a thing, which I think would have been kind of lame. So I like the way they did it, and then him not finding out until someone told him while he was on his way. And then I definitely expected it to be more of like a blow up rather than like it was kind of a turn on for her. She was kind of into that.
She was in not only the comedy show, but the fact that he banged another comedian. I did like that this movie put two, at least that I could recognize, two real comedians, that woman who he banged, and then the lady with the mole on her face, are both real stand-up comedians. Do I know their names? No, because I'm a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah, I would imagine some of those others were as well. Like
I would imagine, but those two were
just kind of hanging around.
Yeah, I'm sure they were, which is what you would do when you make a movie like this,
right?
And then we have, I think, the final stand-up scene. There might have been one in between it, which was right after his and Tess's big fight, where he literally just goes up there and says how terrible relationships are, and somehow doesn't bomb, and kind of just.
I think he was bombing pretty good.
Okay, yeah,
I don't think there's a lot of laughing going on.
No,
he was at least drawing laughs in his other shows.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I don't think he was drawing many laughs,
much of anything. Yeah, and it was good to kind of see it not come crashing down, but at least be a little bit more realistic. It was more of a going up there for necessity's sake, more so than doing it for the love of the game. His head wasn't in it. I did just like that scene where it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I've never done stand-up comedy, but from what I've heard, it's not an easy thing to get into. You're gonna bomb, and so it was really great to see him, because he went from open nights to like featured, pretty quickly. It was all kind of fast and loose. This movie takes place over multiple months, and we just get the highlights. So I did like the crash and the burn for sure.
Yeah. That was the one, like you said it, he's kind of really treating these as like therapy sessions and just ways to vent. And then this was clearly like the blowing up, the boiling over, right? And he was really just venting and not concerned about like his jokes or anything. He's just up there just being real pissed off. And it was very vulnerable and, emotional, and like you kind of understand where he's coming from. And then that leads to the scene with his dad afterwards, where his dad's like,
"My man,
just being a good dad, and throws in like, next time you should tell some more jokes. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was kind of all a little bit predictable. I think the arc of it, um, and the progression of his stand-up comedy. I think that was the only way it could end, right? Was eventually like he would kind of be rising, and then he'd have kind of one crash and burn set,
Yeah.
which coincided with the crashing and burning of his second chance relationship or whatever that was.
Yeah. And then it's all kind of like we said, it's kind of been this roller coaster. They rebang after the Peyton Manning date. It's all they're sneaking around. They've got this relationship with Bradley Cooper and his wife is all kind of weird. That's all kind of tangled up in there. But I would say that there's a change when, excuse me, Alex realizes kind of his mistakes or what he was doing wrong, I guess, and he shows a picture of his wife when she's all like grumpy and angry in front of the house, and he's like, okay, I had the volleyball picture, but this is when you weren't looking great and when you weren't at your best, and I still love you here. And then he prints it out and hangs that above his kitchen table, and it was like, okay. And then is that what turned the relationship back around to being like a good one? Because it ends, like I said, on a high note. But I think the only thing that changes was the picture hanging above his dining room table. What's going on there?
It was a little weird. He says something that I had to think about to like try to process, because he basically says that picture showed him that he wasn't unhappy with their relationship. He wasn't unhappy with their marriage. He was unhappy in their marriage.
During their marriage.
Right. Basically meaning it wasn't
It's
their
not
marriage
you,
that
it's
was making
me.
him unhappy. I'm just an unhappy person, and we happen to be married. And
Yeah.
so you're also unhappy. So let's be unhappy together, because that's better than being unhappy apart, I guess basically was the
Yeah.
message there.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you kind of mentioned that, because we do have the scene with Balls and his wife where it was kind of a similar thing where, oh, we're going to get divorced or whatever. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, no, we talked it out. Everything's great. And then in this, it's like, okay, everything's great. And then they go to again, I mentioned it in the opening for a reason, but they go to their child's performance of Under Pressure, which was such a weird way to end this movie. And
Mhm.
they're like, this song came out when they were probably in high school, so they're loving the shit out of it. And it's their kids, and they're all wrapped up in this emotion, and they're jamming, and then it ends with a kiss. And like I said, it sounds like it's a positive ending, or at least that's what the movie would make you believe. But it's got a little bit of the Graduate vibes where, he steals the bride and then they get in the bus and they look at each other like, wait, what are we doing? Do you think that this relationship in this movie has any legs, or are they going to be faulting? That's a volleyball term.
It's a good one.
Thanks.
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know that it matters. I don't know that that's the important question, right? I think it's just that they're like finding happiness in each other, and
So,
I
but if they're
guess
finding
I guess
happiness in
it
each other,
leaves
they're
it leaves
gonna
it up to your imagination. Yeah, I think they're gonna keep trying, and they're gonna keep trying to make it work, but it just doesn't seem like it's possible that it would ever work,
okay. That was
given
my
what
question.
yeah, given what we've seen and what we know, and they're like basically two breakups that we see in this movie. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's ever gonna work. I don't know.
That's what I think too. So this is not a happy movie, right? I mean,
I thought it was very depressing and very sad. And
yeah,
I
like
think it
the whole
asked a lot of questions that you only ask if you're in an unhappy relationship and a toxic relationship. Like, there
not
was one
anymore.
where he mentions that like a therapist, I don't know, did some activity that he thought was good, where the couples have to tell each other something they don't like about each other or something like that. And I was like,
Terrible idea.
I don't think that's a good idea at all. Cause then as the audience member, you're like, I was trying to think like, man, if I had to do that with my wife, like, what would I say? And I was like, I don't really have a lot to pull from. and I'd really be having to like force myself to like nitpick some things, which like that's not a healthy way to like go through life. Like, oh, I hate when you leave your fucking dishes in the sink. Like, like what are we doing? That's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it was a very toxic relationship. I don't think there was really any way for them to save this, but I think they were. I don't know. I think they're searching. I think they're reaching a little bit.
I do too. I think they should have cut this shit off. I think that would have made for a better movie. I think it ended really flat. Especially with, like I said, the kids performing this thing. Like, it wasn't built up to be this big moment where they were gonna like, hey, we need you at the kids show. It would mean a lot to them. Kind of like a reverse Mrs. Doubtfire. You know what I mean? Like, they needed to build towards this event at the end, and then if one doesn't show up or they do show up and it's like this big thing and they're
Right.
proud of each other for being there. But I didn't even know they were performing for like a school talent show. I just remember that they
Yeah.
were playing it, during a fight, and
Right.
maybe that was on purpose, but it just felt really weird to have them play almost the full song with these random kids,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of like jam out and it ended. I just thought it was so weird.
Yeah. It was
Um,
definitely weird. I will say I didn't like the kids
I
at
didn't
all.
either.
They didn't add
Did
anything to the movie for me.
no.
I think they like yes, I understand that there needs to be the kids in the movie to show like what a strain this is putting on, their kids, their
The
parenting. They're trying
family.
to figure out what the family dynamic is going to like. Okay, sure, I get that, but the kids themselves, which is kind of just very douchey. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hate to say that about like 10-year-olds, but they're pretty douchey kids. I
I did
also didn't
like the
like
scene. Go
Laura
ahead.
Dern. I didn't like her.
Yeah, you mentioned
Really
not
thought
picking
she
her in
was
the
a
draft.
miserable person.
Yeah.
And I don't
I
know
mean,
why he wanted to get back together with her at all. She just seemed kind of awful.
uh yeah, absolutely unenjoyable. And she just was, I mean, quick to turn. I mean, he wasn't a bag of sunshine and rainbows either. Let's not just shit all over Laura Dern. But I just think they were two miserable people who were comfortable with each other and they could make each other laugh. And then they kind of just forgot how miserable they were. And then it's like, oh, well, I found comedy and I kind of found coaching volleyball. And now we're in love again, baby.
Yeah, that's kind of you're exactly right. It's like they spent a little bit of time apart and that made them forget how miserable they were together.
Yep.
And they had like this nostalgia for their relationship and the joy of their relationship that actually wasn't there. Um,
And I mean, I've never been a, let's say, mid 40s, to be nice, divorcee.
mhm.
And I'm sure that shit's pretty difficult. If you're a divorcee listening right now, we love you. But man, they just like the fact that he bangs this, younger, hotter female comic is like, okay,
Much
we
yeah.
got some tension here. Well, let's not bag on Laura Dern. She's,
Oof. Oof.
um, but
Looking tough at points in this movie.
the fact that he bangs this comic and then I don't think we see her again. There's no, I mean, the story's not about her, but at least be
Right.
like, she wasn't in the crowd and he was talking about banging this girl. It's just
Right.
really anything. Have her involved somewhat. Like I said, this is a 2-hour movie, and I felt like there was more room to explore a better movie.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of saying it. I do think that you mentioned earlier with Bradley Cooper and this being the one movie so far that he's directed that did not get a lot of notoriety and award buzz and stuff. I think there's two reasons. One, this came out in like mid-December, so it's pretty late in the cycle as far as awards stuff. I mean, you just not a lot of chance for it to get a lot of visibility. But two, yeah, just really wasn't that kind of
Special.
movie. Wasn't that kind of movie. Yeah.
Great. Well, it took us probably 40 minutes or so, but I do want to mention and ask you, did you know that this movie was based on or influenced by a real person?
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, comedian John Bishop. I guess Will Arnett ran
Hmm.
into him. I'm testing my IMDb knowledge here on a cruise, and when you go to cruises, there's stand-up comedians every night, and I guess he was like, "How did you get into this?" And he's like, "Well, my wife left me, and I jumped on and just started doing it." So that's kind of where this idea came from.
Hmm.
So interesting. I'd love to
Yeah.
listen to some of John Bishop's stuff, and I'm sure it's better than what we heard from Alex
Maybe.
Novak.
My question for you: did this movie make you want to do some stand-up? Go hit an open mic?
I think everyone male ages 0 to 100 at some point in their life has thought, I could be a stand-up comedian, right?
Right, for sure.
But I think that they don't get enough credit. And as much as I would like to think that I could get up there and at least get a chuckle or two, I think it would be tough. And if I had some time to write something, maybe, but man, it would be tough, kind of depending on where you are in the environment, because I think that plays a huge part. Kyla and I went to a fucking comedy show that was at a pizza restaurant. And so it's like hard to get laughs there because people are there getting pizza.
Right.
You know what I
Like
mean?
paying
So
attention, yeah.
I think you could thrive in the right scenario, but I don't think I would do it like our man Alex Novak.
I have been thinking about doing stand-up for like 10 years. I think about it
Mhm.
off and on, and like I kind of periodically will like jot down something in like a premise of a bit in like my notes and like kind of work through it in my head, and then I forget about it, or whatever. And this movie really was like, man, I just got to do it at some point. I just got to go do like a 3-minute open mic, even if it's like in front of 12 people and I get no laughs. Like, I got to just go up and try it. It just would be fun. It seems like it'd be fun. It'd be fun.
Let's
And
start
like
hitting the open mic scene,
we
huh?
should. And I feel like it would be cool to have just like a 5-minute set that like you could just bust out at like random open mics anytime. Just work on like a quick little 5-minute bit. I've actually got one that I'm working on right now that I think has some legs.
All right.
I think
I'm not going to have
you
you recite it for the pod, but
no, you and I, we can talk about it later. You and I, it's partially stolen from you. It was kind of a you and me were band like kind of riffing off of each other in a bar one evening, and it stemmed from that. And I've kind of worked some other stuff into it that I think eventually I could turn into a tight little like 3 to 5 minute half decent little bit.
there we go. I've spent so much time in bars telling jokes to people. I couldn't even begin to imagine what it is. Well, I think that's the episode of A Beer and Review. Is there anything else you feel like we need to hit before we wrap up on Is This Thing On?
No, man, I don't think it's a movie that requires too much more than what we gave it.
Nope. Do you think highlier, which is a word, or lowlier, which is also a word, of Bradley Cooper after this movie?
I think still highlier.
Okay.
I think directing is difficult. I think that clearly he is a better actor than he is director. I don't know
I
about.
mean, maybe not
I don't
clearly.
know about
We
maybe
love
not maybe not
Maestro.
clearly.
I
Yeah,
love
I
Maestro.
did like Maestro. I didn't see A Star Is Born. I think people liked it,
Yeah,
but I think in general, as an actor, I think I've always enjoyed him. And I think that it's really impressive when it's got to be very difficult to act in a movie that you're also directing. So like doing that in Maestro, that was a tremendous
He was
achievement
so good
of
in that too.
filmmaking. Yeah, he was incredible, and he was really good in this, right? I think when he was in this movie, those were some of the better, more enjoyable scenes in the movie. And it's just got to be really hard, and I think that he's going to end up directing a lot. He's still, quite young, and I think that there will be some that hit and some that miss. And he seems like a guy who's willing to take swings and like do things that he likes and enjoys, and that he'll take some chances. So all of those things make me respect him more. And I'm excited to see what else he does. And I'll probably watch just about everything he ever makes in his career, because that's kind of already where he is as a just a Hollywood filmmaker, film actor. I think he's awesome. So
Yeah, it's hard to hate on him, but I will say this soured me a little bit. It soured me just a little bit.
that's fair. Yeah.
Yep.
You got to bounce
not,
back. Like he can't make 2 or 3 more of these in a row,
No.
or then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, he's a pretty shitty
washed,
director.
cooked.
Yeah.
What else do the kids say? We're on YouTube now. We're
sold.
on Can1Live's YouTube. Ooh, do they say that? I've never heard that.
Yeah, they're sold. Yeah.
All right. Well, nice. All of our listeners who are below the age of 20, let us know. All right. I think next we need to talk money. All right. We've talked about the flick. We've talked about our thoughts, but it's not about our thoughts. It's about the dollars. It's about the bills. And that's when we throw it to our money man, Lucas Walker. Please make the dollars make sense. And for you new listeners, this is the part where Luke goes over the financials. Bang.
That's right. And for some reason, they don't have it on IMDb, which is annoying because they have the box office stuff.
Dude, my internet went out like right before recording this. I had to call Charter. Unbelievable.
Oh, that's not good. You guys ended up going with Charter, huh?
Dude, yeah. I did that thing where I went to go cancel and I was like, okay, I want to cancel my bill. And they said, well, do you want double the internet speed for half the price? And I said, all right, Charter, you got me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's our only option out here.
Well, you got one option.
In Hidden Valley, yeah, there's no other.
They got you by the balls.
Yep. So I'm having a hard time finding the budget. It doesn't really.
Do you want me to guess?
So the report, yeah, go ahead and guess because I found an estimate.
Okay. I would say maybe 25 mil.
It's a pretty good guess. I was thinking it was probably somewhere a little bit higher than that. Yeah, I probably would have gone closer to the like 40 mil range just because we got some names. But this has a, very loose estimated budget of, we'll go with 30 million.
Did you ask ChatGPT?
I did, and it thought I was talking about wanting to set up my own personal budget. It's like, ChatGPT, you idiot.
Well, if you ask it, is this thing on? It gets a little confused.
Right. I was like, is this thing on? ? And it's like, yeah, I'm here. What would you like to discuss? It's like, no, God damn it. The movie.
We're the financial corners, ChatGPT.
The movie. So we got about a $30-ish million budget. The opening weekend in the United States and Canada, a paltry $136,000.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's tough. The gross worldwide box office since inception will be generous and round it up and call it 10 million. So if the $30 million budget is accurate, this movie only did a third of its budget in the box office. It will obviously pick up a little bit of extra cash. It's like right now it's streaming on Hulu and HBO Plus or whatever. I think just
Plus
Hulu,
Max minus.
Yeah, the whole thing. You can rent it on Prime Video, so it's getting a few bucks here and there from some rentals. I'm sure they got some money to license it to Hulu, but there's no way that this movie is even coming close to recouping its budget. So old Coop is not recouping, if you will. And so he's gonna not be too happy about that. So that may damage his ability to make future films. Like I said, he can't be making a couple more of these because otherwise no one's gonna be giving him any money to make movies anymore.
Yeah, and then something tells me Maestro wasn't setting the box office on fire either.
We did it. Obviously,
we did it. We could probably look it up, but
we could probably look it up. I'll pull it up as you get us into the financial corner, or to the beer corner.
There we go.
See if it did make any money. But why don't you take us into the beer corner? I'll let you know.
Boys and girls, welcome to the beer corner for first-time listeners. This is where I chat about the beer that we've been drinking. As you can see, I have 3 of them proudly displayed on my windowsill because that's what adults do. The beer that we drank this week is Jester's Privilege. For those of you that are watching on YouTube And on Spotify, I am going to pull up the Brew Built Brewing website so you can read along with me. This is Jester's a Privilege West Coast IPA. They call it the big dog in our year-round core 4. This is coming in at 6.7%. The hops are Huel, Melon, Citra, Eldorado, and Crush. 60% craft malt from Admiral. I added the bull. Maltings. This beer is a West Coast IPA, charming as ever, blend of 2 Pilsner base malts, floor malted pale malt, and a dash of California grown chit success and malted white wheat. They kind of go through they've used a bunch of different hops and they've really been tinkering with this recipe. There was something I found interesting here where Huel's Melon unique heritage includes the well-known classic Cascade paired with a German malt, then bred and grown in German soil. So these dudes are out of California and they're bringing in German soil to grow these hops, which is pretty goddamn crazy. We end with our goal has always been to deliver a vibrantly aromatic, crisp, complex IPA that retains a high level of drinkability, which I think they did here, paired with a modest ABV content, which I think I said was 6.7. That's pretty modest in the IPA game. Our house Cole strain finishes plenty dry, accentuates a snappy finish, and gets out of the way, allowing the bouquet of hops to remain at the forefront of the sensory experience. A little bit about Brew Built here. They started in 2021, so a very new brewery. They focus on their locally sourced craft malt. Again, I said these guys were out of Sacramento Valley, California, so that's what they have their barley from. In December 2023, they opened a tap room and restaurant in downtown Nevada City, which we are fans of. It's just crazy that a brewery opened only just a few years ago, and it's already getting recognized on this world famous podcast. They talk about all their brewing process, which we've discussed in previous episodes. Go check those out on Spotify. Their values, they are value quality, community, and service. All sounds like great things. And I do just want to say, as we wrap up the beer corner here and we drink our Jester's Privilege, that Brew Built Brewing absolutely destroyed the California State Fair. As you can see here, they are award winners in 2023, 2024, 2 awards in 2025, all for the California State Fair. Just absolutely crushing. For their brain bypass Hellas, their Wizard Boots Hazy Pale, and then they did win the 2025 Brewers Cup of California gold medal for the Party's Eyes Kolsch. Nothing that we're drinking, but congratulations to Brew Built Brewing Company. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the beer corner this week with one of your hosts, Layne Good, who's gonna take a sip of his alcohol.
Well, that was quite the beer corner for us. Good work by you. Do we want to review it right now?
I think I want to review it right now. Lucas, did you get through one? How are you feeling? I want to hear your thoughts on the Jester's Privilege brew.
We'll give it one last little
swig, a little hoorah. Yep.
Just to make sure that I know where we're going here. Mm-hmm. I have not gotten through the whole beer. I'm not sure that I'm going to. I don't enjoy it.
Oh, no.
I don't enjoy it one bit.
Okay.
It's not a beer that I like at all. Tastes funny.
Mm-hmm.
It does not taste like an IPA.
Nope.
It tastes more similar to like a wheat or a light beer kind of something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And those are those are not exactly the flavors I like. If I'm gonna drink an IPA, which is not always my beer of choice, but if I am gonna drink one, play the hits.
Kick you in the mouth. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Let's do what IPAs do if we're gonna do IPAs. This is not an IPA to
Mhm.
me. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that you're exploring the range of the
Mm-hmm.
scale here. The scale is 1 to 10 on our review. For
Right.
those of you first-time
I
listeners,
rarely go lower than
and you
anything.
rarely
Like,
go low. But I
yeah.
think in year 5, we need to explore
Right.
the spectrum, if
I
you
like
will.
that. I like
So
that.
with that thought in mind,
If we're really exploring,
if we're gonna explore, oh no, we already explored it once.
yeah.
Save your exploring for the rest of the year because we're
Okay.
gonna start
Okay.
giving out lots of high scores.
Okay.
I agree with a lot of the things that you said. This does have a hint of fruity flavors like you would see in a hazy IPA, but they're not strong enough. There is no piney flavor in this.
Right.
There is no dank flavor, they call it in the brewing world. This is a light, kind of fruity IPA, which is not my favorite. I'm going to give it another sip just like you did. So I give this beer its last hurrah before I give it a score. I'm going to go with a 6. I think this is an okay beer, a little bit higher than you. 6.7 is a good ABV. That's a good wheelhouse for me, but a pretty unremarkable beer as far as flavor,
Yeah.
kick. It was just it was an okay experience.
Unremarkable is a really good way to put it.
Fuck yeah.
It's not doing anything for me. It's
Yeah.
not moving any needles.
Nice. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into America's favorite game. We call it Rotten Guesses. And what we are going to do is we are going to guess before we look. We are going to guess the Rotten Tomatoes score of the critics and of the audience. And whoever is closest is crowned the winner for the week. I am the host this week, so I get to choose who goes first between Luke and Keith. And Keith is not here. So that means we are going straight to Lucas. What is your guess for the critics and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes of Is This Thing On, released in 2025, directed by Bradley Cooper?
I'm really glad you clarified for the audience that Keith is not here.
Keith is not here.
An hour and 2 minutes into the podcast. That would have been something if he had just been lurking in the shadows. This is a tough one. I think this is a movie that clearly has a lower ceiling, but the bottom could be anywhere. I truly don't know. So I'm gonna go for the critics. I'm gonna get harsh. I'm gonna go critic score 62.
Oh man, that's not as harsh as you could have been.
Well, you know me. I don't get harsh on this. I like to look at the positives.
Explore the spectrum.
I'm trying to explore the spectrum though. So I'm gonna go 62 for the people. I think that they'll maybe have liked it a little bit more, mostly because there's just like great people in it. The acting itself
Likeable
is
people.
very likable people. The acting itself is quite good. The premise, I think, explores a fun topic, right? Stand-up comedy is fun, divorce less fun. I think it makes you think a little bit. I think that it might be a little bit of a relatable type of a thing for some people. So let's go with the 70 for the people, the popcorn meter.
Lucas, I think you're in the right ballpark for the critics. I think they're going to come in at about a 60. I was going to be in low 60s. I'll go 65 just to be a little different from you. I think the audience will be lower. I do. I'm going to come in at a 52 for the audience. I hope I'm wrong. It sounds like you have it pulled up. What do you got?
Got it pulled up, and we whiffed. We whiffed
really
pretty good. We whiffed pretty good on this one. The tomato meter with only 202 reviews, so not a lot of reviews, but the tomato meter, they certified it fresh at an 87.
That's crazy.
That's not the movie I watched. The popcorn meter with over 500 verified reviews, so a decent little sample size. They were lower, so you were right on that side, but I only mean lower than the audience or than the critics. They came in at an 83.
Jesus, man.
So
What are these numbers?
you were way off on the popcorn meter. I was off pretty good, but closer than you. You were a bit closer on the critics, but we were both pretty awful there.
Yeah.
Not our best start to season 5, bud.
Not our best start. And unfortunately, that's how it is sometimes in this world. And
You know, sometimes
they can't all be winners.
look at it's we're not using Rotten Tomatoes because we think that the
It's the
rankings are
best
gospel.
or accurate.
Right. We're doing it
Look
because
up
it makes
Man
for a
on
fun
Fire.
Right. We're doing it because it makes up for a fun game. And it's hard to guess, right? That's why we do this. But man, oh man, sometimes they just swing and miss. And I think they swung and they missed on this one. Just like, Bradley Cooper didn't make in this movie. I mean, look at if this movie was an 87, I don't think that it makes a third of its budget in the box office.
Agreed.
So,
all right. Well, we've danced around the subject. We've been talking for about an hour. Let's get into your review, Lucas, of Is This Thing On? Released in 2025, directed by Bradley Cooper.
All right. We're going to explore the spectrum here. This is going to end up being one of my lower scored movies
of all time because you're
history
exploring
of the podcast, because I'm exploring, which does not necessarily mean it is one of the worst movies we've watched, because I think there are movies we've done on this podcast. Yeah, there's movies we've done on this podcast that were much worse. I sort of mostly enjoyed my time with this movie. It was fine. I told my parents, yeah, you guys should check it out. It's a decent watch.
Bad recommendation.
Right. I think they would like it. And they watch a lot of movies. Like what's another, this is not the worst 2 hours you're going to spend, but it's not the best. I think there were some good things that it was exploring, right? Some of the ideas were good, right? Divorce is tough. It affects your relationships with friends, family, children, all of these things. There's no easy or right way to do it, I would assume. Divorce, don't plan on being divorced, but you can imagine that it sucks. And so this explores that. It explores a healthy way to, cope with that. And then some of the complexities and difficulties of navigating the whole thing. Right. So I think there's good things going on there. A lot of likable actors and actresses, giving solid performances. But overall, I just thought the movie just lacked a lot of they lacked it, man. You said it earlier, there was a better movie in here somewhere, and this did not find that better movie. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
6.5.
It was just okay.
I'm proud of you, Lucas, because that 6.5, if I were to go through, is probably one of your lower scores. Well, you gave Ballad of a Small Player to 6.2, but regardless,
that movie was just barely okay.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of, but I mean, again, good on you for exploring the spectrum here. I think we need to do a better job. My brother watched Ambulance, the flick with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it was a really bad movie, and we were kind of shitting on it. And I was like, what would you give it out of 10? He was like, a 2.2, like nothing. And I was like, well, I gave it a 4.2. And he's like, that's too high. He's like, you guys need to explore the spectrum a little bit more. So that's what we're here to do.
I kind of liked that movie.
It was so bad. I just think of the green spray painted ambulance, and that terrible.
Not great.
But we're here to talk about a different movie, and that movie is This Thing On. I didn't like the stand-up bits. I didn't like the relationship. I didn't like the kids. I didn't like a lot of the movie. It was 2 hours, and when I watch a movie, I'm I'm signing up for 2 hours. I'm not splitting this thing up. So it was, I don't want to say an enjoyable 2 hours because it wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't the worst 2 hours I've ever spent. Would I spend it again? Probably not. But as I was watching it, I wasn't like, yo, where's the off button? But I think this movie was bad, and I'm going to rate it as such. I'm going to come in at a 5.9. I think this movie was not okay. That's usually like the term that I like to give movies that aren't, that I didn't really necessarily love. It was okay. But the more I think about it, it's bad. There's so many things that they kind of go towards that don't lead to much. The volleyball stuff, the kids stuff, Bradley Cooper, he was fun, but the whole relationship was just kind of weird. And I didn't like, he never kissed the girl. Like, I didn't even really know who the other one was talking about. I didn't know they were talking about each other the whole time. Like, it was just bad. And the only reason I am giving it this score of 5.9 is because I love Will Arnett, and I love Will Arnett in dramatic roles. I think he's very, very capable. I love me some Laura Dern. I love me some Bradley Cooper. But this is not them at their best, unfortunately. This is a bad movie. I will forget I have ever watched it in about 10 minutes. So on to the next one. Let's get to episode 122, 5.9.
Yeah. That's what it is, man.
That is what it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of episode 121 of A Beer and Review. Next week, I'm going to give us a little spoilers so we can hold ourselves accountable. We will be reviewing Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. So the boys are going to get to the movie theater, which I'm excited about. But Lucas, thank you so much for joining me on this episode 121. Thank you to everyone on the Can1Live podcast channel for hopefully listening to an hour and 12 of us talking. And I will see you all next week on A Beer and Review. Lucas, cheers.
Cheers, buddy.